was here for a reason. But I was scared that if I tried, I'd fall. So where do I go now that I'm in it? I never thought it'd be like this. Dreamed it all my life and I did it. Thought the grass was greener than it is. Cause I had a dream that someday I would just fly away. And I always knew I couldn't stay. So I had a dream that I'd just fly away, away.
All right, hi everyone. Let me stop sharing 1 second. Hi Garth, I see you have a question. Garth, can you hear me? Okay, your hand is raised. Let me know. You can put it in the chat as well and we'll answer it. People are still connecting. Hi, Mallory, welcome. Hi, everyone. We're gonna get started in a few minutes. I just wanna make sure everyone, is able to join, and I know people are still joining, so we'll get started in a few minutes. And I'm gonna play some music. Feel free to put in the chat where you're joining from. And we are recording, so if you would like to leave your camera off or on, that's completely up to you, whichever one is fine. All right.
Oh, shoot.
Sorry, that was an ad.
Hello, hi everybody.
Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, we're gonna get started in a few minutes. Just wait, I'll give it 1 more minute. I'll wait for everyone to join. And I do want to mention that we are recording and put in the chat our privacy policy. So feel free to leave your camera on if you would like, or you can also turn it off as well. Before we get started, let me just start here. I do have just a few friendly reminders. Everyone, please keep yourself on mute throughout, the duration of the talk, unless you have
Somebody.
a question, and then you feel free to unmute yourselves. This is recorded, like I mentioned, so you can leave your camera on or off. It's completely up to you. Feel free to put your questions in the chat, or you can also save them, of course, until the end, and we'll open it up for questions from you all. And then, I also want to encourage everyone to join our Facebook group. You can find us by searching Thriving with Family and Friends. And this is just a great resource for daily support and motivation. And then also, if you haven't downloaded our new app yet, please check out our new app so you can track your challenge. And if you're an Apple or iOS user, you can just head to the App Store. And if you're an Android user, go head on over to the Google Play Store to download our new app. So right now it's 5:04, so I think we should get started. I'm super excited for today, and I know you all are as well. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our amazing move expert, Mallory. And I think her journey is so interesting because, she spent several years on the road with different theatrical productions, right? And that was asking a lot of her body. So Mallory found her way through fitness through her own needs. And I think that's so like powerful. So once she adopted a regular fitness routine and her body began to heal, she realized that this was a gift she wanted to share with others, right? And so she began her transition into the fitness realm. So now she is an RKC certified kettlebell instructor, a certified pre and postnatal coach, a certified functional strength coach, and she's also a precision nutrition certified. So her dream is to give people the power to walk into any fitness or wellness setting and feel empowered to make the best decision for themselves without feeling the pressure of someone else watching, judging, or otherwise bringing down their vibe. Okay, so I hope you all came with lots of questions, but without further ado, I'm gonna pass it over to Mallory. Mallory, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for that intro. It feels like I'm like walking out to like intro music when somebody reads out your bio. You're like, oh, I did that thing. That's me. So thank you.
Absolutely. We're super excited to have you. And I know, you just, yay, Mallory. So I know you have a lot to, you want to share with us, but do you want to just like you want to introduce, and then I have some questions for you.
I feel like you introduced. I have not much more to add to that really than like my dream is to like, I firmly believe fitness is for everybody and everybody. I think if you Google fitness or wellness, you're going to get generally thin, white, able bodies on your Google search. And I don't think that that's an accurate representation of the world, right? And my dream is to bring fitness and wellness to everybody of every shape, color, creed, size, whatever your walk of life, whatever your financial status is. We all deserve to be able to live our best lives and whatever that looks like. So I'm actually really excited to be with all of you today because I feel like Thrive is so aligned with that belief and coming to wellness and fitness and well-being in general from that space of wanting this to be accessible for everyone. I can't tell you the number of times I've walked into a gym and people just kind of like look or gawk or like whatever it is, and finally being able to walk into a space confidently in my own body and be like, I know what I'm doing here. I'm able to do this thing. I am capable of doing this thing. Once, like you said in the beginning, once I had that in myself, I was like, this is a gift I have to give everybody else. I didn't know it was a superpower that I needed until I had it. And then I was like, everyone deserves to be able to feel this way. And that's kind of, long story short, gets us to where we are right now.
Absolutely. And I think, a lot of us know that moving like can help us with specific things like losing weight. And that's like the main, maybe, or like the most visible result. But can you just talk about why movement is so important for our whole selves, our body, our mind, every area of our life?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. movement is so much more. I think a lot of times people's first introduction to movement is for something like weight loss or fat loss, or to change the outward look of their body in some way. And I like to think of the body as a car. I'm not a car expert, but I like to think of it. I know enough that like my car cannot run at 100% if the windshield wipers aren't good, the oil isn't full, the engine isn't running at max capacity. And I feel like our bodies are a similar thing, right? Where if I'm going to be able to move my body, suddenly I'm freeing up space for not just my physical well-being, but also my mental and emotional well-being as well, right? If I'm in a constant state of stress, those stress hormones are making it hard to sleep, which in turn are making me tired at work, which in turn is making me not want to move my body later in the day or get up early, an hour earlier to go to work. And being able, I don't want to say vicious, but it is definitely a cycle where it's a domino effect, right? Once I start to feel a little bit better doing one thing, then it moves into wanting to do a little bit better in another thing, making it easier to feel a little bit better doing another thing, not to just keep saying a thing and be a little bit vague, but wherever we all are in our lives, whether it is childcare, whether it is getting up to into the job. I know we've got a lot of shift workers with us right now, like finding constantly my schedule is changing. And if I have resilience because I can do something hard, like walk up to a heavy weight at the gym and do that hard thing there, I know that outside of my fitness setting, I can do hard things when they're presented to me because I was able to tackle that other thing. And so it's not just like lifting the weight or doing the hour ride on the bike or whatever it is coming up to adversity, being able to pass it and build that resiliency while also doing things like lowering your stress hormones, balancing out your hormones that are keeping you alive every day, getting you up in the morning, giving you the energy to move in and out of family relationships. It gives you the more space. Long story long, I feel it gives me more space to be able to have conversations with family, do hard things when they show up to me in life, better equipped to handle. If my stress hormones are more balanced, I'm able to handle a customer a little bit easier. I'm able to handle a crucial conversation with a colleague a little bit easier. And so it is so much more than just like the physical portion of it. It does create that adrenaline that starts to help balance out those stress hormones. I don't mean to harp on stress hormones, but I think it is so related to that. And once we can kind of handle this here, it carries over into so many other aspects of our life, our mental and emotional well-being, in addition to the physical.
Awesome. Absolutely. That's so like full circle. And I would love to open it up to the audience for any questions. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to either put it in the chat or unmute yourselves and ask away. Someone may be typing. In the meantime, I do want to just like hear more about, and I'm sure everyone wants to know, like movement. Like I love how like before when you were describing movement, it may not only be like walking or running or like something that's cardio, right? So maybe like what are some other ways to like move to like reduce stress, or like what else can we do? Maybe it's stretches. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so, I think you hit the nail on the head, Angel, when like, I think people are like, oh, I need to run more to reduce my stress levels, or I need to ride my bike. And it's like this all or nothing mindset. And I think the biggest thing is creating the lowest barrier of entry, where it's like, with my mom, even, I'm like, Mom, can you just stand at the counter and march in place? Like, rather than just standing while you're waiting for the coffee to brew or whatever it is, march in place just to get the body moving. I think about our blood flow as a river, right? If you dam a river, what's going to happen? That water gets backed up, it gets muddied. We get to this place where, like, oh, that if we stop moving, the same thing happens in our bodies, where that blood flow stops and we don't get as much oxygen through to the joints or whatever that is. And something as simple as standing in place and marching, or like standing in place and like fidgeting is so useful. And just like a step touch out to the side. It doesn't even have to be like a full out, it doesn't have to be a jumping jack, anything like that is going to be so helpful. And that kind of prepares the body to be like, oh, I am capable of movement. Like, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. I feel like I am straying away from the question a little bit. Angel, can you tell me again, like, rein me back in? I get tangenty.
No, that was super good. Just like, instead of walking, or like, if I'm walking all day, you know, like, I don't want to walk anymore. I want
Yes.
to, you know.
Totally. And we are fortunate enough to live in a time where you can get on your computer and be like, a 5-minute stretch flow, and YouTube is abundant with just like a moment. And it can be sitting in a chair, opening your arms, taking a nice deep breath, sitting at the desk. If you're a desk worker and you're not walking around a sales floor all day, just taking like a 3-minute stretch break at the desk when maybe you can't get up, but maybe also it's like, oh, time to fill my water. Let me go for a jaunt over to the water cooler. I really enjoy, like, right when I wake up in the morning, like a nice big stretch. And that kind of sets the tone for my day, right? Whether I get very into my like morning rituals, where it is like I wake up and I meditate, and then in the last 2 minutes of my meditation, it's always the same like 3 movements, and I take a nice big like lion's yawn, big chest stretch, and hug myself and bring it out and bring it back in. And so just those little bits, where, going back to the first question you asked about, we know inherently that movement can lead to weight loss. Like, these types of movements are more conducive to telling your brain and your body, all right, I'm ready to do a thing now, or I'm in a safe space and I'm going to move into whatever my next task is, rather than like, I need to go into the gym to be able to move my body outside of taking a walk, kind of thing. It can even be like kicking the soccer ball around in the backyard with the kids or the neighbors or whatever that is, right? It doesn't have to look a certain way. And I think sometimes we get in our own way, feeling like I need to block off 30 minutes that are specifically for this thing, where it can be a little bit of an easier approach of like, something is better than nothing. I like kind of live by that phrase. Something is always better than nothing. Finished is better than perfect, right? Even if you were like set out to do your 45-minute Peloton ride or whatever that is, maybe you just got like a 20-minute like casual spin in on the bike or whatever that is, and letting that be good enough, and not letting perfect be the enemy of good. I'm like, that's the sweet spot. That's how we create consistency.
Of course, I always see it's about progress, not perfection. And I really believe in that.
Yeah, agreed, 1,000%.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to ask, unmute yourselves.
Is this, are we going by what what her experience is and your experience and everybody's experience?
I don't understand the question.
Okay. You had something, a goal in mind, and you did it. Okay, so I guess the question is that what we're going by? Because this is the first time I've been on, so.
Angel, can you feel, I don't, because I don't really know what these usually look like either. Do you mind?
Of course, yeah. So this right here, so it's called an AMA, and Ask Me Anything. And basically it is, this time around, we brought in a move expert, Mallory, who is an expert on movement, and fitness. And so it's just, to ask her any questions, for her to share her expertise with us. And today we're focusing on movement and why it's good for our overall well-being and health. And thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank
Right.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. I like to dance. So I had the virus, so I've been out for the virus. I'm going back tomorrow. So, I've been down here and I've been trying to do a little bit of dance moves, um, as, as best I can with all the energy I didn't have, but
Yeah,
yeah. But
I
I
love
like,
that. It's funny you bring that up. Again, like, I don't think people just think like dance as a form of, I love dance as a form of not only expression, but also as a form of movement. In a lot of classes I teach, against my favorite feelings in the world, burpees are not my best life. And so I will always offer at the end of my classes a dance party in place of burpees. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I kind of feel like that's what keeps people coming back to my classes, because I'll never ask them to do burpees. I'm like, if you want to have a full out dance party, that will be so fulfilling for not just your body and getting your heart rate up, your soul. Like, I find it hard to not have a dance party and just burst into simultaneously uncontrollable laughter and tears. Like, there's some amazing release that happens that's very cathartic. So I love that, Lisa. I'm very excited that you're able to get back into dancing this week.
yeah.
That does sound fun. I know my sister, she has 3 kids, and she always will do like a dance party with them, and I got to join in with them, and it was so much fun.
It's the best.
Yeah, so cool. Awesome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask, or a comment, something that they, something that they love to, a way they love to move?
I like what you said about, even if it's marching in place or anything like that. As you can tell, I'm in my corner office, and I'm literally on Zoom meetings the whole day. And what I find, actually, I was very, very lucky to find a desk that actually goes up and down. And I stand for a lot of my meetings. I've stood all afternoon, so I'm sitting for this one, but I stand for a lot of my meetings, and it's so versatile. You can, move your laptop around and everything. Super helpful there. But there are some of those days where even standing, walking in place, being attached to your computer all day, you'll see like your feet swelling, or you didn't get that much movement, and a lot of times it's just late in the night when you're done everything. What are some best practices, or what are some things that I'll take myself off of camera sometimes, and be a little more vigorous in my movement at my desk. But what are some other things that I can do to help? Of course, drinking a lot of water. No, I don't drink the sodas and the Gatorade. I don't even drink Gatorade anymore because of the salt and everything. But what are some other things?
That's a great question, Debbie. Thank you for asking. I was going to ask if you were ever able to turn your camera off, because I'm going to tell you some things that might feel a little bit funky. So we just in life tend to live in this forward and backward. It's called the sagittal plane. Everything is on both feet. You're only moving forward. You're only moving backward. If you can get that camera off and just kind of take a nice wide stance and get into some like lunges and get into like out of that forward and back plane, that's like your body is going to love you for that and be so, so grateful. And so, like simple as, and I hate to bring up high school PE, but something as simple as like that quad stretch from PE, right? Kicking that foot into that hand, keeping those hip bones tucked under, getting that nice deep stretch through that quad, hanging out here for 5 breaths or so, shaking that out, getting into that second side, anything to get out of that like forward and backward plane. And I see your like vigorous nod. You're like, yes, moving side to side. That is going to be so huge. And that kind of
I have a step. Yeah, I have a step and I go kind of back and forth sometimes even.
Yeah.
You
the
know,
step is
because
amazing. And like,
and there's a few times where I still keep my camera on and I'm stepping around and it just is what it is. And they're just gonna have to see me.
I think
Oh,
that's
wow.
amazing. And hopefully it's inspiring one other person in that Zoom room too, to be like, ooh, Debbie is moving. I can move too. Like it's totally a domino effect where if I'm seeing somebody else like stretch their neck or yawn, like we see it with yawns all the time, right? How many times have we all been sitting in a meeting where one person yawns and then the next and then the next and then the next? Same thing. Suddenly you're gonna be like, oh, everyone around me is stretching. That looks nice. Or also leading the charge and like, okay, can we take a 60-second stretch break as a group? If you're ever in the situation where you are leading one of those moments, I think it's remarkable as a leader to be able to be like, okay, stretch break. Everybody's going to get up now. And like, maybe it's just doing something as simple as shaking it all out or like whatever that is to get some of that blood flow going. It sounds like you're already doing amazing things.
Yeah, my desk is on wheels. You know, and it's funny. I got my desk
around the whole office.
It's got a crank on it and everything. It's like a desk from Home Depot. It's really supposed to be in a garage, but I have it in my office because you have to move. You have to.
Yeah. And I love too that you mentioned that it's a standing desk and you also take it down to a seated position. I feel like we have been sold this idea that standing is better than sitting, but the reality of it is that anything that you do too much is going to be, what's the opposite of beneficial, is going to be non-beneficial. That was a very extremely intelligent sentence, but standing too much can have just as a negative effect on your body as sitting too much. So getting that combined movement in there is fantastic. I also love sitting to my chair and just like coming up, sitting down, standing back up, sitting down, standing back up. Suddenly you're doing a set of squats and you've never left your office and you're like, oh, I got my set of squats in the middle of my workday, which I think is amazing as well. It sounds like you're already crushing it, Debbie, and that's really, really awesome.
I was gonna say that too. Like, that's awesome, Debbie. And I love how you keep your camera on sometimes, because I bet you also remind other people to move and maybe inspire them to like do the same, which I think is really awesome.
The only thing I've done is I said, sorry, I've got to move and I got to crank my desk up, and they watch me crank my desk up and all of a sudden my laptop is going up, but they're watching it, you know. It's just something that I've done. So in the last year and a half during the pandemic, when I was in the office, I worked in the home office. My desk was a standing desk. And so for me, it was, you know, I wasn't at my desk very often, but here I had to adapt a little bit. And it's worked out well. So
that's great.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. So we have, let me see, there's a comment in the chat. It says, I do a lot of walking daily at work. I work for Walmart, so I do a lot of movement.
That's great.
Yeah, how would you kind of, so we have time for like 1 or 2 questions. So please, like, if you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask away. But Mallory, I'm wondering, like, after a long day of movement, what would you do to kind of like show that extra love to your body and kind of like, I know you kind of mentioned this, I love the giving yourself a hug and stretching, but what else would you do at the end of, you know, a long day of moving?
Specifically to our friend who is walking around Walmart a lot. Again, your body has been in this pattern all day, right? And if you, whether it's like before you get in the car to go home, or once, if you have the energy to get home, literally just like taking a nice fold. Maybe it's a downward dog. I think it's called pedaling the dog. This here, if you can get into this, if I just went upside down and you were like, Mallory, I'm never getting upside down, I hear you. You can get the exact same thing done, leaning against the back of that sofa, right? Suddenly I've got a really, really nice long stretch down the back of those legs, through my back. I'm actually getting a little bit of a workout too with the upper body holding me in place, that shoulder stability working in there. And then just some ankle circles. I used to live in New York City and I don't anymore. And so I don't walk as much. And I find that my ankles are really creaky because I'm not moving as much. And I always want to get those joints really nice and like get that good, those good fluids moving around. I think ankle pumps and ankle circles are super, super valuable things to get just some like gentle, easy movement. It doesn't need to be anything intense, but like you said, that it without physically giving yourself a hug. Also, I highly recommend giving yourself a hug. Like that feeling is just great, but it's like giving your joints a hug and just getting some gentle, thank you for giving me all of this work today. And it may sound a little woo-woo, be like outwardly be grateful for your body. All of you who are here right now, this thing has gotten you through a global pandemic. We are still getting through a global pandemic, and it is working hard for you. And we are so hard on our own bodies. And I think it's so valuable to take a moment and be like, oh, thank you. Arms, thank you, legs, thank you, lungs, my ribs, my brain, for getting me through another day. You have come to the other side of every hard day that has happened so far, and just getting us little gentle, like, almost a breath into those lungs with it, the ankle pumps, the ankle circles, the opening of the chest, all of that tells your body, thank you. I care for you. I'm grateful for you. You care for me and I care back for you, which I think is super, super valuable.
Absolutely.
Hey, I got a comment.
Yes.
Also, hey, this is Cece.
Hey, Cece.
Hey, you guys. I also work at Walmart, and a lot of things I do, I work a lot of freight, but I be up and down and I walk a lot. Sometimes I haven't posted in a while, but I'm going to post it today. Like all the 3-4 days, you know, I get in sometimes 22,000, 24,000 steps a day. You know what I'm saying? But I'm bending. I'm doing. I go hard.
Yeah.
I don't go soft. I go hard. So I'm working a lot of different areas of my body at the same time. So when I'm winding down, like some days, like on Mondays and Wednesdays, Thursdays, I take my son to work out. And so what I do, I lift some weights too. I also do the leg press. So I noticed, and I noticed that I had got a comment. I took it as a comment. One of the guys came to me. He was like, "You did something to your butt." I said, "What I did?" He said, "You got a butt lift?" I said, "No." So I took that and I ran with it because it made me feel good. I'm doing something right. Whatever I'm doing is working. And I also do the V sit-ups. That also work. But I also do I work on my exercise ball. I stretch. I do squats on the ball. I go upside down. I do different exercise on the ball. So because it relaxes me. It relaxes my back. Like if you have back pain. Yeah. The exercise ball is an excellent source to the body. Period.
Agreed. Cece, that sounds amazing. I also would have taken that as a huge compliment. I'd be like, thank you for noticing. I do work really hard, actually. That's amazing.
And then one more thing, you know how, because when I went to the chiropractor, when I had hurt myself one time, and you know how you put your arms in the doorway and you stretch your body, you stretching your arms, your legs, and all that. You put one leg in front, one leg in back, and then you pull.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, I know that helps a lot too.
Yeah, I love that stretch. Whenever sometimes I get really, really tight in most of us, because we live in this society now, right? A lot of us are very tight through this front part of our body, and getting those arms up in that door jamb to open up this part and actually get that stretch to the front side of the body is so valuable in our not special phones, what are they, smartphones. In our smartphone society, we get into this kyphotic position, and being able to pull that back open is really, really beautiful stretch. I love that, Cece.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Our call is about to end, but follow Mallory on IG at Mallory Gallery. Thank you everyone so much for
Thank
joining.
you, I will do.
Thank you, guys.
This has been amazing. Yes, I wish we had more time. This was an excellent chat, but we will organize more, and thank you.